All right, everybody, welcome to episode 49 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. This is Talking Taker. We appreciate you joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. My name is Alex Dorio. I am one of your co-hosts, one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, my fellow creature, Travis White. And Travis, the hearse is full of gas. The caskets are packed up. We got some pizza ready since we know hell doesn't have any. So we are ready for the road trip down the highway to hell. You ready to jump in? Buckle up.
I'm ready, man. All my caskets are packed. I'm ready to go. Exactly. Let's go, man. Leaving on a hearse. Let's go.
Leaving on the hearse to SummerSlam 98. We're going to be discussing the main event, of course. Stone Cold Steve Austin defending the WWF Championship against The Undertaker at SummerSlam 98, the highway to hell. This is our second
Was that Teddy
time.
Long? The Teddy Long run in?
Oh yeah, The Undertaker.
The Undertaker.
We had a tag team match last month.
Yes, we did. Tag team match player with The Undertaker.
Oh man, this is the favorite period of wrestling right here. And this is not our first time covering Stone Cold and Undertaker. Of course, we did one of their matches about a year and a half ago in real time on the show at Revenge of the Taker pay-per-view. Or no, Cold Day in Hell, excuse me.
Yes.
From May 1997. And it's just crazy to think about, man, how much has changed since their last pay-per-view match. Stone Cold was just kind of beginning his ascent up to the top of the business, and there's so many guys on the roster even then. They were dealing with stuff with the Hart Foundation, and of course, that has gone in quite the different direction than things were looking there at the time. And it's just, Stone Cold's totally different. Shawn was there, and Undertaker was very different.
Champion.
Yeah, he was champion. We hadn't met Kane yet.
Nope.
So a lot can change in that period of time.
And in about a year on the WWF calendar, we'll cover this match again, won't we, next year? Don't they have another match?
We've got a few more. One more this year, and then we'll be doing it in another iteration in '99 as well. And then in 2001.
That's very true. These guys will be linked up for a long time. So,
one of his most storied rivalries.
Yeah, but this is one a lot of people remember standing out here in the Attitude Era. I remember this match specifically. We can talk more about it once we get to it, because I know you ordered this pay-per-view. You said on our last podcast that you actually ordered this, and I can't remember if I watched it at your house, like you had taped it, I came over, or like if I'd rented it. I don't know, but I just remember watching it and really loving this match as a 12-year-old. So we'll talk about our thoughts on it now. But I don't want to spoil too much of that, but this is one where I think your memory kind of plays a trick on you, at least in my book. Yeah.
And I'll be interested to hear what you thought. We haven't talked about what we thought of it, so I'll be interested to hear what you thought of it. But yeah, I remembered really loving this match and this whole show. And
this whole show, man.
Yeah. I think I had a little change of opinion, but I don't know if that's blasphemous or if that's okay to say, but we'll talk about it. But we want to build up the match too and remind you of how we got to this story. Of course, Undertaker and Stone Cold have kind of been intertwined with each other ever since Over the Edge 98 a little bit. We last left off at Fully Loaded 98 with them winning the tag team titles and Undertaker walking away with both title belts. And he's going to strut into Raw number 270 on July 27th, 98, still carrying both of those titles to open up the show.
Yeah, he comes out with both of them and says he Tombstone Kane to hell, and now he and Stone Cold are the tag champs, and he says, we may be champions, we'll never be partners unless Stone Cold comes out here and apologizes to me. So, of course, he doesn't come out immediately. Vince and the Stooges come out, which I'm just lumping in Slaughter with the Stooges at this point, because he's one of them at this point.
He's an official Stooge, I think so.
Yeah. So they come out and interrupt, and Vince questions Undertaker demanding an apology. He cleverly brings up something that you brought up on our last podcast. He says,
"You did exactly what I would have done if I were you. I would make certain that I tombstone my brother to try and prove that indeed there was no conspiracy. I don't know if everyone here is gullible enough to buy that or not. I'm not. You're right. I'm not. I don't know that Austin will. Because let's think about it. How many tombstones did it take for you to put your brother away at WrestleMania? Let's see, I think 3.
And only one last night. And so he says he's not buying that story. But he thinks that Taker and Kane are trying to throw people off the scent. But says that he deserves an apology here. And says that Taker and Austin are going to defend their tag titles against the New Age Outlaws in the main event of Raw tonight. So great storytelling there, honestly.
I thought so, yeah. That subtlety of bringing up the WrestleMania finish was really, really clever, and how they did that. Vince saying, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I would do if I was in collusion with somebody and I was trying to throw people off the scent. I would fake losing that way. So there's just enough truth to that to leave a little doubt. Of course, no one wants to believe that Undertaker is really in collusion. He is, as Jim Ross keeps saying, he's the conscience of the WWF. Stone Cold and Austin, we want them to be partners. We want to cheer for Undertaker, so we don't want to believe it. But there's just enough crack of a doubt in there.
Yeah, which is funny because Vince will take a page out of that book in about a year from now.
Oh, he will, yeah, for sure.
With Stephanie and all that kind. We'll get into that later, but yeah, it's just funny how it's here as well. He's on the other side of it. So really good storytelling there. Again, nowadays they don't pay much attention to that kind of crap, but I didn't think they did back then in the Attitude Era either. But apparently, I mean, this was lost to me. I forgot that played a point here in this whole storyline. Yeah. So really great. Kudos to them. They even if it just fell in their lap, good for them for remembering it. So.
I did not forget this main event tonight. I remember this one specifically. New Age Outlaws against Undertaker and Stone Cold for the titles. And we get the debut here of one of the biggest stars of the modern era. The beach ball comes into play in this matchup, man.
You meant the Smoking Skull belt.
Oh, no. The beach ball gets tossed into the ring, and Austin punts it out to the crowd, which I wish some people would do nowadays, man.
Yeah, like Cesaro does.
Yeah, very similar to that.
Oh, yeah. Stupid beach balls, man. But
yeah, the Smoking Skull belt makes its debut on this episode of Raw as well.
Austin's belt was shiny and had that leather rattlesnake skin behind it. I was like, this has got to be a new title. And then I had to look up, and yes, sure enough, this was the first night it was on. So good stuff.
Good stuff. The crowd is into it. The crowd, dude, I swear that every Walmart in Southern California must have been sold out a poster board on this night. There are so many signs in the crowd. It is wild.
It is, man.
I love seeing that. And it's a pretty good match. Solid main event. I'd say almost even, at least on the same level as the match we just reviewed, that tag team match. Maybe even a little bit better, I thought. But the champs work together pretty good here, Austin and Taker. Austin and Taker get the win here. And the big deal is that Austin grabs a beer after the match and tosses one to The Undertaker. And the announcers speculate maybe this is Austin's apology for doubting The Undertaker, for getting him a Stone Cold Stunner last week. And Undertaker thinks about it for a minute. And then we get the iconic image of Taker chugging a Coors Light.
Yeah, man. And in my notes, I just wrote that this is a huge, huge difference in The Undertaker from the guy we've covered this whole entire podcast we've been running, 49 episodes. This is a very different guy. He caught a beer and popped it and drank a cold one in the ring for Stone Cold. Like, man, can you go back and think about the days when he's wrestling Kama and King Kong Bunny? Imagine him doing that. Like, that would not have fit at all. But here it makes sense here though. Like, because again, he's more human, more realistic. We're bringing this reality stuff in, and it works, man. It's cool too to see that.
Remember those PSAs where he's in the graveyard telling people not to drink and drive?
Yes. Yeah.
Things have changed.
Yes, they have. They have.
Go ahead.
Oh, after this is when they plant some seeds, again in the story, because they're chugging this beer, and then Kane and Mankind immediately attack Austin. And Taker comes out. I think he hits Mankind quickly, and then the show kind of goes off the air. But that'll come into play here soon. But another something special makes its debut in a few days here, and that's Sunday Night Heat on the USA Network.
Yeah, this is the first time we have seen another major show debuting here, and it's easy to forget that Sunday Night Heat was ever a major show, but man, the first year or so, maybe even the first 2 years, which they have thankfully added to the WWE Network just in the past few months, it was without a doubt, it was the B show up until SmackDown came around. They paid a lot of attention to it. They tried to have a lot of the major stars and tried to progress the storylines on there. It was not the jobber, C show or D show that it became. So it's fun to see that. It originally started out as just a 5-week experiment specifically for this build-up to SummerSlam because WWF was so hot right now, and immediately after they did the first few weeks, they extended it to that long-term contract, and it aired, I don't know, for how long? Maybe 10, 15 years almost?
Something like that, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Switched back and forth to
into the
MTV
brand split era. Yep.
Yeah.
Eventually on .com.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Towards the end of the run. Stevie
that
Night
was before,
Heat days.
before streaming was a big thing, too, man. They were ahead of the curve.
They
man.
really were. They really
were.
We'll mention that briefly. There's still nothing super major happens on any of these Heat episodes, but there's a little bit of stuff on a couple of them. Like on the first one. Go ahead.
On this one, Cole interviews Austin about what happened Monday, and he says that he and Taker aren't friends, but they have respect, and he questions why Taker didn't help him when Kane and Mankind attacked him, which I went back and rewound. Taker does come out and hit Mankind, so it's a little bit untrue. They're kind of rewriting history quickly here. I don't know if they re-edited it to show Taker not coming, but he says that they're ready for their match tomorrow on Raw because also on Heat, I believe Kane and Mankind lose the number one contender match to Owen and The Rock. So Owen and The Rock, the Nation, are going to be the number one contenders, and they're going to fight our tag team champs here on this next episode of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit what we talked about in last week's episode. You've got so many storylines intermingling here. Nation, DX, Mankind, Kane, Austin, Undertaker, McMahon. It's all jumbled in there together, and that happens on this episode of Raw 271 on the network as Rock and Owen start the show calling out Austin and The Undertaker, who do come out. Once again, Undertaker still got both of the belts. And as Austin goes into the ring to face Rock and Owen, Undertaker gets distracted because Kane appears up on the stage behind him. And so Undertaker's sort of stuck in the middle, staring down Undertaker. And then Mankind runs out and he attacks Undertaker. So Undertaker's distracted with them while Austin is alone in the ring getting beat up by Rock and Owen. But Austin is able to escape, give Owen the stunner, and build up to that match. But again, just creating more tension and confusion between Austin and Undertaker, continuing to blur those lines about what's going on here.
Yeah, because I think Kane even says, "Where's Undertaker?" And so they says that was a little bit convenient. How convenient for him to have disappeared suddenly. So again, man, I forgot how intricate the storyline was.
Yes, very much.
It's really cool to go back and revisit here. So yeah, but that's not all for this night. There's more to come.
Yeah, Vince McMahon wants to come out and revisit what happened last week with the Coors Light incident, I guess.
Coors Light incident, I like that. So, yeah, he's out with his Stooge Brigade, and they predict a tag title switch tonight. It's going to be a roadblock on the Highway to Hell. They're really pushing that Highway to Hell thing. And unfortunately, for those of us living in 2018, we don't get to hear the classic AC/DC song on the network because it is edited out and overdubbed with a bunch of crap. So.
Yeah, I want to talk about that specifically on one of these episodes. I had something to say about that. Yeah, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
It is frustrating. So I wish they would just shell out the money to make it work. So I'm interested when we get to Biker Taker stuff, if they're going to have that kind of stuff on the network.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I have no idea. So, but Vince points out the coincidence of how last week ended and earlier tonight. Again, he's really not allowing subtlety. Like we talk about, he used to shove it down our throats, everything on the podcast here. We should shove everything down our throats. And he's not allowing you to, think about this one. He's pointing everything out to you, which is, again, good, though. But he invites Taker out to disprove his theory. Come on out here and prove to me that I'm lying. I think Taker comes out, but he's carrying both belts still, I think. And then before he can talk, though, Austin comes out, kind of cuts him off, and goes on to explain that he's not really fond of these tag team titles.
Yep, he says he doesn't really care about them. His main goal, Austin's main goal, is to get The Undertaker to SummerSlam. Man, the only thing he's concerned about is the Smoking Skull belt. And so he just wants to get through whatever they have to get through with these tag team titles. And as far as last week, as far as tossing a beer to The Undertaker, yeah, he thought The Undertaker looked thirsty, so he gave him a beer. So he wasn't reading anything more into that than it was. But Undertaker has a little bit more to say back to Austin here. He tells him, Austin tries to leave, but Undertaker stops him, says,
shut up and listen for a minute. You're doing exactly what he wants you to do. Can't you see? He's trying to drive a wedge between us.
but I want you to come back in this ring and take what is yours. So finally, Undertaker hands Austin his tag team title belt.
Vince is not too happy.
He's not happy about this gesture of trust here. Vince is livid about all this, but Undertaker stops and says, there's one more thing I need to say, and that's that whether you like it or not, between now and SummerSlam, Austin, you're going to be the safest SOB in the World Wrestling Federation. But when we get to SummerSlam, I'm going to take what's rightfully mine, the WWF title. So Undertaker is going to work with Austin as much as it takes to make sure Austin's got the belt and is ready to go for SummerSlam, because then he wants to take it from him.
Right, which is kind of a, some people would beat up their opponent the whole time on the way to the SummerSlam and then, weaken them until they get there. But Undertaker, respectable kind sir that he is, he wants him to be 100% when he gets there. He's going to keep Austin safe till he gets there and then beat him up himself, I guess. So, which that'll come into play later on here, too, as we build the rest of this. So,
thank you for calling it the SummerSlam.
Oh, absolutely. Bret Hart may be gone, but I'm going to call it the SummerSlam.
Always.
Yeah. But that brings us to the main event of this night against Rock and Owen versus Undertaker and Austin. And I just wrote in my notes, man, that Rock and Owen are awesome heels, man. They're so good. They're so good. And the crowd Steve Austin has the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand, man. He can do anything, and they are just there. But I think near the end here, Taker gets a hot tag, and he annihilates the Nation. And Austin's battling Rock, gets the pin. And then Mankind, I have no idea where he was, but he immediately comes in the ring, Mankind, and he grabs a mandible claw on Undertaker. So then Kane comes in, swings a chair at Taker, who ducks, and Kane hits Mankind with the chair. And, of course, the big story there is who's he aiming for?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then, so Taker snatches that chair back and nails Mankind with it as well. So
Mankind is sort of stuck in the middle here between Kane and Mankind, keeps getting hit with the chair. Everyone just starts fighting in the ring. The New Age Outlaws come out and become a part of this brawl. Austin stuns Road Dogg to end the show. It's just another chaotic ending. Kind of what we're talking
I feel
about.
like Road Dogg keeps eating all these stunners and tombstones and chokeslams. He's a bumper and a feeder, man. So I guess Vince. Everybody's one claim that Vince the puppet master, and somebody's pulling the strings here and stuff. But we don't really know about that. But speaking of puppets, King has something to say about puppets here, doesn't he?
He has a weird line on commentary.
This may not be a good night for Vince McMahon. It hasn't been a good week for puppet people with Buffalo Bob and Howdy Doody passed away, and then today Sherry Lewis dying. Vince McMahon's hopes could go up in smoke right here tonight if The Undertaker and Stone Cold are victorious. What will he do then? Back to the drawing board.
We've praised a lot of Jerry Lawler lines, but sometimes he's stretching.
Oh, yeah. That was a reach. That was
a bit of a reach. But one other thing I want to say about this match is it's pretty cool because we had in one match, we had the WWF champion, the tag team champions, and the Intercontinental champion with The Rock in this match. So that's a pretty dang stacked TV main event. All three of your belts all in one matchup here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because we're not going to consider the European Championship worth anything. It's not worth the leather. It's not worth the leather it's on.
Sorry, D'Lo.
I don't even know who has it. Oh, D'Lo. Yeah. So, but yeah, man, this match is stacked with star power and championship material, and that's actually the sub main event. Because how does this show actually go off the air?
Yeah,
I will never forget watching this. I remember turning over or watching because I guess Nitro was already off the air. I was watching this match, and then it goes off the screen with Val Venus's naked butt.
Unfortunately, this is the most famous 5 words in Raw history. Choppy, choppy, your pee-pee. This is this episode of Raw. And let's move on to Heat, episode number 2.
The fact that we're moving on to episode of Heat says a lot.
My God. Yeah, this one has Mankind and Kane and Paul Bearer opening the show, and Mankind gives kind of a disturbingly accurate promo here, dude.
Yeah.
It's depressing.
Creepy.
Yeah. He talks about, he goes back to King of the Ring, to the Hell in a Cell match. He says that Undertaker couldn't kill him at Hell in a Cell. And he kind of shoots here, May, saying, I looked out in the crowd after that match, and I only saw about 200 people cheering me after the match. Everyone else was cheering The Undertaker, and no one realized that what they were actually witnessing in me was the toughest SOB in the world. And so he vows.
So 2 things became very clear. 1, I will not and I cannot wrestle ever again for the acceptance of the fans. And number 2, my career will never end in a blaze of glory. It won't be Cactus Jack off the ramp in a dumpster. It won't be Mankind crashing through a table from 16 feet in the air. The sad fact is, I will slowly lose all of my bodily functions and nobody will give a damn.
Dude, this is 1998. Mick Foley talking, and dude, that's scary because that's pretty much what happens, man. It's sad to hear him predicting that.
Yeah, it is. He even talks about being on a ride with. Is this the one where he talks about being on the ride with his daughter, with Noelle? Yeah, she's like 4 years old and
Santa
kisses
World
his cheek.
Whatever.
Yeah, Santa's Village or something. So yeah, it's weird because he's prophesying his own demise in the professional wrestling. Of course, if he said I came out of retirement 41 times and wrestled for a paycheck at TNA, then he didn't say that. But
he didn't talk about that.
Pretty spot on, which is very reminiscent of his promos back in ECW when he turned on the fans. So really cool. And then he says he doesn't care that Undertaker's family is going to defeat him tonight, basically. He's challenging Taker to a match on Heat. And then he comes out at the end of the night with what Shane McMahon on commentary calls an industrial strength ice scraper. What does that mean?
It looks like an axe to me. I don't know why they didn't want to say that. It's just Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon, by the way, is on commentary for these episodes of Heat. This is our first.
This is his show.
Yeah, this is the debut of Shane McMahon, and he's stealing the Godfather's gimmick. He's got a couple of hoes next to him on commentary. It's rough. It's not
it
good.
is, man. But I don't know about you, but I've never had any industrial strength ice outside. I just have ice. But if you got that industrial strength ice, you need industrial strength ice scraper.
We've had some ice storms here the past few years. I could have used that.
Anyway, Bear and Kane come out with him, and Mankind's on the apron, and he grabs a mic and says he's going to tear the Undertaker apart. And then Kane, quote unquote, shoves him off the apron and through a ringside table, which splinters in half. And again, a bump he should not be taking. Yeah. And then Kane, quote unquote, punches Paul Bearer, attacks Mankind with the steps. Keeps hitting that injured arm that's just dangling, too. It makes me uncomfortable to watch this stuff. And commentary says this proves a collusion. And then, of course, Kane's mask comes off, reveal he's the Undertaker once again.
They must have had a 2-for-1 sale at Sears on the Kane suits, dude. Got another one.
Yeah, exactly. Craftsman work here. Craftsmanship. I only have Craftsman tools at Sears. They used to. Yeah. Back in this day, they did.
No, you good. I got you.
Yeah.
I followed.
So, what's the point in taking off the mask?
I'm not sure. It's cool. It's exciting. It's a fun spot. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's super thought out. I would feel like they would want to hide that fact that they're working together. But I don't know. Maybe they weren't paying as much attention to the details as we give them credit for. But that's going to lead into the next week on Raw, or the next night, excuse me, on August
10th, 98. Okay. Raw 272. Yeah.
Yep. And now we're seeing like some cold opens on Raw.
Yeah.
Like, before even the little signature rolls at the beginning, we see Mankind in the boiler room. He's just ranting and raving, throwing things around, screaming, "I can handle the truth! I can handle the truth!" The truth will set me free. He is demanding. He's going to find out what's going on between Undertaker and Kane. So he comes out to the ring after the credits roll, says he's tired of being lied to, tired of being deceived, and he asks for the one person who's ever told him the truth to come out, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Vince is the only guy that's ever shot straight with him.
That's great.
Which is it's true about the whole Dude Love stuff last year and everything. I mean, it makes sense. So it's just funny, and especially, knowing where their relationship will go in real life as well. So Vince comes out. He says, I detest people like you who need help. So, basically anybody who needs help from somebody, Vince hates. So he tells the long and short of it is basically he tells Mankind that Kane hit him last week on purpose. Taker chose not to hit Kane, but hit Mankind instead. And he said it might as well have been Kane himself last night on Heat because they're in collusion against the entire WWF roster, which he just brings everybody into the story at this point. So, and at this point, I think that Kane and Paul Bearer come out, and Paul Bearer says he won't let Vince poison his son's mind. You're not going to poison Kane's mind. And he says that he and Kane could just hit the road right now, and we could be fine. We've been here 7 years, and I could hit the road right now. And the crowd pops for that when he says he's going to leave. They're like, woo!
Kane, WCW.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but he says he's been here 7 years, which he's been here more than that, hadn't he? I guess, I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, it's been there 8 years, technically, I guess. A little under 8. But he says, he tells Vince McMahon, for once, you're going to listen to the fat man. But Vince McMahon's not having any of it, dude. He says, the truth is, that's not your son. Talking about Kane, he says, the truth is, that's a son of a...
Yep.
He says, that's the Undertaker under that mask. I can smell the stench of death on your breath.
What is that about?
Apparently Undertaker has bad breath. Halitosis, dude.
I guess.
He tries to rip Kane's mask off, but then the lights go out for a long time, and the lights come back on. Kane's not there. Instead, Undertaker is choking Vince McMahon. So Undertaker beats up Vince, beats up Paul Bearer, and we have no idea what happened to Kane.
Nope. He disappeared. And I thought I missed something watching this. I was like, what happened to... But that's part of the story. Yeah. I got worked, man. I got worked like a mark when I was watching this over again. So they had me again.
They're trying to work everybody because we see backstage, we see Undertaker walking into a locker room a little bit later on, and there's just, you see out of the corner of your eye someone in red in the background, and JR is like, that's Kane, that's got to be Kane. It's Kane standing there. Taker and Kane apparently sitting in the same locker room conversing with each other. So the mystery deepens.
Yeah. So it's getting very interesting, man. I just, it's very soap opera-ish. We keep saying it's a lot of soap opera at this point in the World Wrestling Federation, and I'm digging it. I know it's kind of convoluted and stuff, but I'm still digging it. It's not really building up to Austin and Taker right now, but that we'll get there. We'll get there. So later, I do remember this episode of Raw. I'll never forget this episode of Raw either because this was on the old DX split. If you know what I'm saying, we watched this at a buddy of our house, Jonathan, and I remember he and I were watching this part over and over again. He had taped it, so yeah, I remember the DX split there in the middle. They were trying to work everybody too, like were they going to split up or not, and so anyway. But later on in this night, again, Cole, our great investigative journalist, Michael Cole, he tries to get some words from the World Wrestling Federation champion Steve Austin. And Austin just throws him in the shower. So good.
That was a real highlight for me. I enjoyed that.
I wish someone would do that today.
Exactly.
Just throw Cole in the shower. And he tries to interview Taker later, and he's still wet. So I love that. Michael's clothes are still wet. He's interviewing Taker, and Taker's like, I'll do my explaining in the ring. So, because they're going to the ring because there's a Four Corners tag title match as our main event. So
yeah, it is stacked. Austin and Taker defending the titles against Kane and Mankind, Rock and Owen, and the New Age Outlaws. Not Rock and Owen, actually. It's supposed to be Rock and Owen, but Owen gets attacked by Ken Shamrock before the match, so now it becomes Rock and D'Lo. But yeah,
right. So again, another storyline of Owen and Shamrock is getting involved in this. Like all the storylines just interweave and intertwine. It's so cool, man.
It is.
And
cool.
One of the things they point out in commentary is that the partners can't pin each other, which I was like, well, duh. But if you remember back, that's how the New Age Outlaws defended their titles a few months ago.
Exactly.
They had a match just like this, and they pinned each other. So
they called it the Outlaw Rule.
Exactly. So they partners can't pin each other, and this match takes up probably the last half hour of Raw here.
Man, and what was great too is that JR makes sure to mention when the match starts that all of our commercial obligations have been fulfilled for the night, and we're going to see this match in its entirety. And dude, that's just old school. I mean,
Yeah.
that's unheard of nowadays. Watching Raw, where you get a commercial break a minute into the match, and then 5 minutes later, somebody does a suicide dive, and we have another commercial break, and it's just it's brutal, dude. But this match, we see all of it. They make sure to get all the commercials out of the way. It's so cool. I wish they did stuff like that more often.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if you're gonna watch this episode of Raw, you can skip everything in between the opening, the DX split, and this main event because everything else is wrestle crap. Honestly, yeah, it's awful. You got the Val Venus, John Wayne Bobbitt, I think, are on here.
Dude, here are 3 segments in a row on this show. We see Godfather getting out of a match with Vader by offering him the hose.
Yikes.
Dustin Runnels as a televangelist.
Yikes.
Val Venus and John Wayne Bobbitt doing a promo together. The guy who got his willy chopped off.
Yeah.
And then the Brawl for All.
Oh, man.
3 segments in a row, man. There's some great stuff on these episodes of Raw, and there's some flaming hot garbage also.
Yeah. So, transitioning from all that crap is this main event, which is, again, it's a pretty fun match. Anytime you get this many people, this many stars in a ring, too. I mean, every single guy in this match is a Hall of Famer, or will be, honestly. So,
except for D'Lo.
He'll be in there. Coco Beware's there, dude. He will be there. I'm telling you. D'Lo will be there.
I will eat my hat if D'Lo Brown ever goes into the Hall of Fame.
All right. Put some hot sauce on it, dude. He's going. But eventually, Austin and Taker both get tagged in, but they don't attack each other. The finish sees almost everyone brawling in the ring, just like all these matches break down to. But then Kane tags himself in against Undertaker, and he chokeslams him, gets a pin, 1, 2, 3 pin, and wins the tag titles for himself and for Mankind. But as soon as he pins Undertaker sits up and looks at Stone Cold. So very easy, obviously he wasn't down for the count, but he laid down. So there's more commentary speculation about it. Like, he doesn't look injured, he doesn't look hurt, but that was a quick pinfall for Kane. So, still building that tension, that story there, which I appreciate. So.
Yeah, I do too. And now that they have lost the tag team titles, the focus is going to shift to Austin and Undertaker just being one-on-one against each other. That's what we see a little bit of on Sunday Night Heat, Episode 3. There's not too much to mention here. Undertaker cuts a promo that they build up for the main event of the show, basically just reiterating that, kind of saying, I don't need to worry about protecting you anymore because we don't have the tag titles. Now you've pissed me off, Austin, so you've already got one foot in the grave, and I'm going to bury you all the way here on the highway to hell. Austin tries to come out to face him, but Kane interrupts, and that's how Heat goes off the air. So just a little something there, not too much, but here's where things really kick into gear. We start going full speed on the highway to hell. We got 2 episodes of Raw left going into that. Raw number 273 on the network on August 17th, 1998. And here's what I want to talk about. You mentioned earlier about music. The lack of the correct music on this episode of Raw ruins this episode of Raw.
Yes.
Dude, it is so frustrating. I remember this Raw so vividly. I was so looking forward to getting to it. We see another cold open here. Stone Cold banging on Vince McMahon's door of his office, trying to get him to come out.
Yeah.
And then we see, as the credits roll, we see a hearse backing into the arena. And then Stone Cold gets out of the driver's seat. What originally aired here was when Stone Cold got out of the driver's seat, they queued up AC/DC, Highway to Hell. It started blaring in the arena, which is still... That's one of my favorite rock songs of all time, man. Just a classic riff, classic song. And it was so iconic here in this build-up to this match. There was a great commercial music video that they made with that song. The poster for this pay-per-view was awesome. It's just tied into this Highway to Hell theme. Apparently AC/DC is Vince's favorite rock band of all time.
Chris Jericho always says that. Yeah, he says that he invents love AC/DC.
And it was so cool for this. Instead, we get dubbed over with Austin's music coming in, and they cut out this whole chunk of this beginning of this episode where Austin pulls a casket from out of the hearse that's full of beer and chugs a beer on top of the hearse and then heads to the ring, and we don't see any of that.
Okay, I was thinking I was crazy because I didn't know because sometimes my network will skip. If I'm watching on my TV, it'll skip ahead and stuff like that. And so I kept rewinding it, but because I knew that happened, I knew he pulled the casket out, pulled the beers out, but none of that was on the network version. So it wasn't just me. It was not okay. I know it wasn't crazy because I remember all that happening. So
me too.
It's crazy.
It sucks. And, pay for the rights to this music because it.
I know.
I mean, people watching this that didn't watch it originally have no idea, and it just looks. It just looks lame without that stuff. Music's so pivotal in this. Something I was going to say earlier is we've seen the oddities a lot on these episodes of Raw, and they don't have their music either. That ICP music and. They have some awful music dubbed in, just goofy carnival music. And I'm not trying to say the oddities were anything great, but
their music made them.
Exactly. And I'm not an ICP fan by any means, but that music was great, and that made their entrance, and that was pretty much all they were. So you take that away, and they look terrible coming out there dancing to this terrible fake music. And this... it's going to happen again later in the show and totally ruin an awesome moment too. So,
yep. Oh man, yeah. It does suck they can't edit that stuff back in or get the rights. So, but yeah, like you said, Austin comes out here and he says that he calls out Vince basically again after we've skipped over the whole him chugging beers and stuff out of the casket. Stooges come out and Vince comes out and he says. Austin says, "Why don't y'all kiss this blankety blank when he's been over?" Which he just made that up right there. That was not scripted.
Vince gave him the stink eye right there too.
Yeah, Vince. I love it. None of this crap is Austin is scripted, man. So it's great. But he says he doesn't trust anybody or doesn't depend on anybody. He says he'll pull his foot out of the grave and stick it straight up. You know what, Undertaker? And he's going to stuff him in the hearse, and he'll stuff Vince in there as well, and take them both down the highway to hell. So. I guess he's got a double deep, double wide casket back there.
He must. He's got to fit all of them in there.
Yeah. So.
Well, then fast forward to the end of this show. Undertaker's music plays. The lights go out. Everyone's wondering where is he, and then suddenly we see his back. The lights pop up, and we see him from behind, magically already on the steps. He's got the cloak on, and then cut to the glass breaking. Austin heading out. And Austin gets in the ring, but Undertaker still got his back to him. Then the flames rise up, and wait just a second. That's Kane in the Undertaker's outfit. It's the full Undertaker outfit, but he's got a Kane mask on.
Yep. And this guy even got fake tattoos all over his arms and everything. Or real tattoos. That's what commentary's like. Is that Undertaker with a Kane mask on?
Right.
Is it Kane with Undertaker's outfit on?
What's happening?
Yeah. Can you get an Undertaker outfit at Sears as well? They don't. Can you get a 2 for 1?
They only have those at Dillard's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are Macy's. He's been there a long time. This is high quality stuff at Macy's.
Sure.
So So anyway, we don't know who it is, but they brawl. This Kane Taker, Undercaner. I don't know what you call him. I'll call him the Undercaner.
Okay, that works.
He and Austin brawl through the crowd and up to the hearse. Of course, got to brawl up straight to the hearse, and then Austin throws Kane in and slams the door, and he goes to open the front door, the driver's door, and this is the big reveal. And I think this is where you want to talk about music again. So hit us with it right here.
Yeah, he slams the back of the hearse, heads to the front door, tries to open it, but the door's locked. And we see the Undertaker turn and look at Austin, give him the finger, and drive away as his music plays. That's what we see on the network. We hear Undertaker's music dubbed over it. We don't hear anything from the crowd or any announcements. You can tell that the music is dubbed over. Because, again, when this happened on Raw, when Undertaker turns and gives that look to Austin like he does, just like snaps his neck over to look at Austin, the Highway to Hell cues up again, that awesome guitar riff.
My God, it's the Undertaker.
gives me chills just thinking about that. It's just the way that they timed it so perfectly. You can find it on YouTube. I went and looked it up because I was swearing. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me.
Thought you were crazy.
Maybe that didn't actually happen, but yes, that's what happened. And it was perfectly timed, and it was awesome. And I've been waiting 49 weeks to get to watching that moment, and it's not on the network. It's so lame.
It is lame, man. Because I was like, why is Undertaker's music playing? Whatever, because I remember that as well. But it sucks, man, not to have that. But it's still a cool thing.
It is still cool, but it sucks that people watching this nowadays, there's lots of kids that go back and watch this old stuff, and they're watching it for the first time. They're not going to know how awesome that much. It's just lost forever to time.
It is.
And it blows.
Yeah, it does. But storytelling-wise, really cool.
It is cool. It's
that
still
confirms that it was Kane in the Undertaker outfit. Undertaker's driving, the casket. So he's tearing off down the highway to hell with his brother in the back seat, I guess. And I want to mention something before we move on. Where are they headed? Hell.
Oh, okay.
Michigan. Hell, Michigan. I guess that's where they live. They might have moved there once since they buried their parents in Long Island. Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. If you guys aren't listening to every episode, you got to listen to every episode to get all this whole story, so you know where all these callbacks come from. But I want to mention something here. Again, we're not talking WCW, but we do mention them from time to time. Mention them on our last week's episode. I do want to mention, though, on this same episode of Raw that we just talked about and covered on the other channel over on Nitro, this is the night that the Warrior debuted in WCW on Nitro, which I have some speculation. It's not founded on anything. No, I didn't look up Meltzer or Keller or talk to anybody, but I have some speculation as to why the next week's episode of Raw is mind-blowing as it is. I think it's a response to the fact that Warrior came back, because if you look at the ratings, which I did this next week, the week after Warrior debuts, Nitro beats Raw by a significant amount. But this episode of Raw is probably one of the most fun ones that we've watched and covered. It's stacked, man. So, but I think it's because Warrior debuted, and they may have pushed some things forward a little bit. So we'll talk about that in just a second.
I think there's probably some truth to that, even though I guarantee you Eric
Pritchard
Bischoff and Bruce Pritchard, both of those guys would say nope. They never paid attention to the other company ever with any of their decisions, but they did. So I think you're definitely right. And this Raw, we'll try to get through it quickly, but it feels like a pay-per-view itself, man. There's so much that happens here.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay. So here it is, the go-home show for SummerSlam. The very beginning, cold open again. Kane and Taker walking down the hallway out of the same door.
Finally.
What?
After all this time.
So here you go. I mean, that to me is a bombshell. We're dropping right at the beginning of the show. So then
JR blows it as Undertaker and Kane walk out together for the first time to Undertaker's music, and he says,
"History in the making right here tonight. The first time publicly that Kane and Mankind have walked side by side, step for step, brother with brother."
JR blew it. But they don't edit that on the network. Right. They edit the music, but they won't edit JR acting a fool.
Right, exactly. They don't edit the DX split or anything like that. China bending anyway, whatever. So, but they won't edit that comment. So, anyway, there's a Hell in a Cell hanging above the ring. So, again, for all the good Russo had, he has some bad stuff where he's like, this worked. Let's do it every week now. Let's do a Hell in a Cell on Raw every week. So, anyway, but so Taker and Kane come to the ring. Again, this is huge, man. This is 10 months, a brother versus brother feud. Taker having mercy, not wanting his brother to kill himself. And now here they're finally united, man. And, I don't know. I just feel like, to me, I think this whole episode of Raw was going to be saved for SummerSlam. You're going to see that they're finally revealed to be on the same side, in collusion, in cahoots. I really feel personally that was going to be revealed at SummerSlam, and because of the Warrior coming back to WCW and the ratings war, I feel like it was pushed up to here. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, man, and the crowd is kind of mixed though, because you don't know, you've hated Kane this whole time, right? I mean, he's despicable, and Vince comes out to some boos. So the crowd is mixed on Undertaker and Kane, and Vince is like, he comes out and says, finally Undertaker and Kane have come out of the casket.
He says, this is the best television since President Clinton's mea culpa long ago. After all those lies, we finally get to the truth. So Vince got to be topical, man. Got to be clear.
Not nowadays. Has to back then.
He is gloating that he knew this all along, and now he says he wants Undertaker to decide if he is going to be friends or foe with him, with Vince McMahon. He says he's going to demand an answer from Undertaker if he's going to work along with him before the end of the night. Paul Bearer comes out looking just all sad and depressed, like we saw him back at Royal Rumble 98, right before then. He wants to talk to Kane. Son, tell me it's not true. Tell me a lie. Tell me it's been a dreadful nightmare. I'm your father. I've been here for you all along. You can't align with The Undertaker. He says,
I know one son that's always loved you. Something your own mother didn't even do. That sleazy whore. Oh my God.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah.
Goodness.
I was like, yikes.
He begs Kane to destroy The Undertaker, destroy him for daddy. But Kane turns his back on Paul Bearer and allows Undertaker to pummel Paul Bearer.
Which gets a huge pop. The crowd loves it when Paul Bearer gets beat up.
Every time.
I'm telling you.
Every time.
Without fail.
It never gets old to me.
Beat up Paul Bearer. No, me neither. I love it.
Mankind runs out, and the Brothers of Destruction beat him up, give him a spike tombstone, which is pretty brutal. Austin tries to run out, but flames rise up in the middle of the ramp, and JR can't help himself, man. He says, they're trying to barbecue Austin.
Yeah, gotta get his barbecue plugs in there.
Calm down, Jim.
Simmer down, JR. So, this wall of fire shoots up, and he almost lights up Austin's boot, honestly, man. They got to be careful with this pyro back then, man. Yeah. Lighting Taker's face on fire. Gangrel's now debuted. He's coming out through fire. Austin's boots are about to light on fire. There's a lot of fire here. But, man, this is such a huge revelation. To me, it definitely muddied the waters of face-heel dynamic here because it's like the crowd, and as we see when we get to the actual match we're covering here, we'll see the crowd is still love Taker, but they're kind of split, on how they feel about him. So I don't know, but the crowd loves seeing their brothers smash things, but Austin's just the biggest face in the company at this point. So no one's ever going to usurp him. But it's really cool just to see the dynamic change. And like I said, man, this is a bombshell dropped. Like I keep talking about Loki and Thor, and this is like when Loki and Thor team up. Like in Avengers. So good stuff.
Austin threatens Undertaker and Kane. He basically says he's going to take one of them out tonight before the night's over. So. Fast forward, we got one of my favorite moments ever on Raw as Mankind, who was taken out on a stretcher after that tombstone, breaks out of the ambulance and rides his stretcher down to the ring, like Titus O'Neil's himself under the ring right there. It's hilarious. And basically, he cuts a great promo challenging Kane to step into the Hell in a Cell with him right then and there. He's got 7,000 thumbtacks. He's got to turn Kane into the world's largest pincushion. Says he doesn't care if he gets his butt kicked because it won't be the first time that's happened in Philadelphia. A little nod to ECW. And says, Kane, I'll see you in hell.
Yeah. So he's getting... Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he's getting face pops here too, man. Like I said, he's supposed to be a heel, but he's getting face pops here. They're in Philadelphia. He's playing to that mark, ECW crowd. He's riding. How can you not cheer a guy who rides a stretcher down and disappears under the ring for a second? Hey, you got to cheer. So it's just all this. It's so much gray, so many shades of gray here with all these top guys. So here's another Hell in a Cell match on free TV,
unadvertised.
Again, Warrior just debuted last week, so I really think this has something to do with it on WWS response. So Mankind comes out and he tries to climb the outside of the cell, and he's does he make it up there? I can't remember if he makes it.
No, he doesn't make it up there. The referees keep pulling him down.
That's right, yeah.
Then Kane and Undertaker come out, and Mankind tries to throw a chair to the top of the cage, but can't quite get it up there. Keeps bouncing down, almost hits King in the face as it comes down. And then Undertaker yanks Mankind off the cage as he's trying to climb it through a table, man. God, dude. Another ugly bump.
Another
Mankind.
Table bump.
Yeah.
He just had one the night before on Heat, which was, I guess, taped last week. But still, table bump. 2 weeks in a row, plus all the Hell in a Cell stuff from King of the Ring. It's just unnecessary, unnecessary. But finally, Kane and Mankind get in the ring, and Kane starts attacking him with the steel steps and hits a tope over the top rope to the outside.
Yeah, smashes Mankind into the cage, man. That's the ugliest bump he took during all this. But
I know.
They get in the ring. Mankind gets the thumbtacks out, flips Kane into the thumbtacks, his butt at least.
Yeah, wedgie pile driver, then he flips into the thumbtacks, yeah.
It's about 30 thumbtacks in his butt. They trade some more just brutal chair shots, dude, right in the head. Kane just annihilates Mankind with some of these, gives him a tombstone on the chair. And then finally Austin, after all this time, finally pops out from under the ring while Kane and Mankind are locked in the cage and stomps a mud hole in Kane. Undertaker's trapped on the outside trying to get in.
Yeah, it's locked.
Yeah, and he ends up climbing to the top of the cage and kicking through the roof of it.
Yeah, doing his, I guess what was supposed to have happened when him and Mick Foley, the cage was to give was a little bit, you actually see his leg hanging through there. So his leg's hanging through, and Austin smashes Kane with a chair and hits a stunner, and then you see the cell start raising up to the top of the arena, and the camera cuts to Vince McMahon. He's over there pushing the button, raising it up. So it's not that jabroni who was there a couple weeks ago at Hell in a Cell doing it, but it's Vince here doing it, and he's quote-unquote protecting his investment for SummerSlam, they say, on commentary. So I think another stunner is given to Kane, and Taker's on the cell as it's rising up to the arena, and so he can't help out here, Taker can't.
And this is midway through this episode of Raw. There's still more to come. They threw all this in there and thought, no, we still don't have enough to sell people on this pay-per-view yet, because we come back from commercial, and another first here, Kane is bleeding. Somehow Kane has done a blade job and is bleeding from these chairs. We see the blood running down his mask and on his hands and stuff. So
I don't know if that was a hard way or a blade job. I think it's hard way, man, honestly. Those shots were brutal.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It could have been, but I think
who blades on the head?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We'll never know. But Austin calls, Undertaker is livid about this. He calls Austin a coward for jumping Kane from behind and says tonight he's going to make Austin come face-to-face with his destiny. It's not about SummerSlam tonight. Tonight it's personal because he made his brother bleed, which, everyone gives that match at King of the Ring a lot of crap, saying how you do a first blood match with a guy who's completely covered up.
Right.
But apparently you can.
Here you go.
He bled right here.
Exactly. So or you can, smash his hand.
You could.
Or something.
Cut his hand. So talk about what happens in the main event segment.
Okay, yeah. So, again, Vince, remember at the beginning of the show, still Vince said he wants to know if he's friend or foe of Taker. So, near the end here, we got the Druids coming down. Again, these are the worst Druids we've had in 49 episodes.
I'm pretty sure one of them is our listener and my friend Billy the Nightmare's dad.
Probably.
His mask doesn't even fit. You see his face. His cloak isn't even on. His bald dude with glasses.
Yeah, it's awful. But they come out in a double wide, double deep casket. I mean, this thing is thick, man. It's big. Got the ominous Latin chanting music coming on.
It takes forever.
It takes
long.
10 minutes. And then Taker comes out and cuts a promo about taking the title from Austin this Sunday. He's not going to attack from behind. Kane has his own agenda at SummerSlam, so don't worry about him. Vince comes out to interrupt, says, my friend or foe. And Taker offers his hand as a handshake. The crowd's booing. Vince is smiling like an idiot. He goes to shake the hand. And, of course, he eats a chokeslam. Never, it's all trust a dead man here. And at this point, Austin pops out of the casket. And he, pop goes the Austin. He comes out of the casket, gets in there, facing off with Taker, and then Kane pops out of the casket as well.
Yeah.
How did Austin not know Kane was in there with him? Are they bunk caskets? And then, what are they? I don't know. So Kane pops out as well and attacks Austin from behind as Taker kind of watches. Austin grabs a chair and heads up the ramp, and as he goes up the rampway, the ramp lights up in a flame down the middle, I guess like the dotted lines on the highway, and you got this highway to hell.
Nice.
Lighting up toward the rampway. So, again, double wide casket with bunk room, I guess, in there. I don't know, but man, this is how you book a go home show.
Oh, absolutely.
This is incredible. If you weren't sold already at the beginning of the show, and you weren't sold by the Hell in a Cell halfway through the show, you've got to be sold here.
And I was, man.
Yeah.
I ordered this one. I didn't order all the pay-per-views because I was 12 and didn't have any money, so I had to beg
Yeah.
every time. It had to be a really good one I really wanted to see, and this was it, man. I begged to let my parents order this one and watch it live because also we just had we had that pay-per-view box that you had to get, and that would we could only do that in our living room. So that meant I had to kick my parents out of the living room for the night to watch these. So I had to really pick my battles.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to watch a pay-per-view. And this was one I wanted to. Like I said, dude, the build-up's amazing. It felt important. It felt really cool. The poster was awesome. The commercials with the Highway to Hell were amazing. And I think that's what's been in my head that I've been remembering this whole time is this build, those commercials, that feel for this show, and why I've always thought that this was just an awesome matchup. Because going back and watching it, it was not quite what I remembered.
Yeah, well, we have a little bit of info, too, nowadays as to kind of what happened. You know, Austin has revealed kind of what happened. We'll talk about that as we get to that part in the match. But, yeah, man, I do love this show, though. A lot happens on it. You know, I love the ladder match. I love this ladder match.
Yeah.
That is what these two guys became main eventers that night to me. What's it about a ladder match that makes guys stars? Like the Hardys and Edge and Christian, and then Shawn and Razor. Yeah, they were. You know, and this match with these guys, I remember, you know, Jarrett getting his head shaved. I love that. I love the opener with Venus and D'Lo for some reason. I love that match when I was a kid, you know.
I love the set, the Madison Square Garden, when they used to have that short entryway and they used to do stuff with the doors in there for all these pay-per-views. And this one in particular where it looks like the gates to hell coming out there. Man, I just that's my favorite of all time.
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden entryway.
Which... Just a little sidebar here. Now, MSG will be infiltrated in April of next year, right?
How about that, man?
How about it? So,
it's wild.
It blows my mind. So, anyway, this is SummerSlam, August 30th, 98. As we said, we got King and JR on commentary. Thank God. These guys are just incredible together. I think you and I both appreciate them more in our 30s than we did in our teens. So,
no doubt.
They're awesome.
And just two quick things I want to touch on. Just to wrap up, we've talked about Mankind and Kane so much. They face New Age Outlaws on the show, but Kane doesn't show up. So the Outlaws defeat Mankind in a handicap match for the tag titles. That's another good match that I enjoyed.
It is.
But they toss Mankind in a dumpster after the match, and Kane, apparently he's gotten good at hiding in these little boxes. He pops out of the dumpster and allegedly smashes Mankind's head with a sledgehammer. So officially ending their partnership and alliance right there. So just wrapping up that story real quick.
And then tell us about that cool little thing. It applies to Taker. The cool little Easter egg that's here on the network version.
Yeah, just something small. If you're watching it live there on the network, we get some exclusive home video footage. It says there at the bottom of the screen. So I guess this was on the Coliseum video release. Right, like you mentioned that awesome ladder match between Rock and Triple H. Right after it, they show some footage that wasn't on the pay-per-view of Rock walking backstage after the match, and they show him walk all the way to the trainer's room, so through Gorilla and all this stuff, and you actually see all the agents running around, including Bruce Pritchard. And they're all screaming, "Where's Taker? We need Taker. Taker's entrance time." So that's just a little funny, little Easter egg.
Yeah, it's just funny
on the network.
Yeah. It is funny there. So, again, Taker has allegedly told us that Kane will not be involved in his match tonight. He's got his own agenda. So, cool little video opens the show. But here we are at the main event. Taker comes out first. Again, he's walking with purpose. He's not as slow as he used to be. He's got the cloak with the high collar on it. And JR, again, reminds us that Undertaker's defeated Hogan and Psycho Sid for the WWF title before. Here's another chance for him to do it. And again, I think this music is more what we're accustomed to. This is where it's kind of tweaked from last month. It's got all the bells and whistles it needs now, and this is kind of what we're used to of this era of the Undertaker. So now we're up to speed.
Austin walks out. Man, did you? JR says this is the loudest ovation he's ever heard, and it didn't sound like that to me, man. Maybe something didn't translate to me. It kind of sounded a little subdued for Austin as he came out. It was, I don't know.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that because that's kind of my point. Was like, Taker's still a huge face here, but he's kind of a gray area. But I think the crowd was kind of split. They love Austin, but they love Taker too, just because of his legacy. So I think that's why Austin's pop wasn't as, JR puts it over like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, but it's not. I mean, it wasn't as big as we're used to seeing. So anyway, the match starts off as you'd imagine, aggressively. You got punches in the corner. Austin's in control. Then Taker's flurry punching in the corner and clothesline by Taker, and he goes immediately for a pin, which I think it's cool because it shows he wants to win it.
He's here for the title this time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he goes immediately for a pin, gets a 2 count off a clothesline. So that's cool. Some people think I'm stupid, but he shows how determined he is to win it.
Austin's determined too. They kind of trade off working the arm for a little bit, and Austin gets a quick little roll up, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin hits a drop toe hold and a wrist lock.
Yes. Back to the Stunning Steve days.
Very funny. But then again, as we've seen in some of these iconic matches, something very early on in the match changes the course of it. Very early on, just like we saw with Taker and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels' big ugly bump happened very early on. Mankind getting tossed off the cage happened in the first minute or so. And in this match, something happens here in the first couple minutes that changes the direction of the entire match.
It sure does, man.
As you hear my dogs walking around, making their appearance for the show.
Run in. Trot in. Anyway, so again, Austin's working the arm here, and Taker's selling for him, and Taker shoots Austin off the ropes, and he ducks his head down, like to throw him over his back, and Austin kicks him, and as Taker lifts his head up, his head connects with the bottom of Austin's chin, and Austin falls over, and Austin's told this story so many times on his podcast that he was legitimately knocked out right then. He falls on the ground. He kind of comes to he said it felt like a long time to him, but he comes to pretty quickly, and Earl Hebner leans down. He's like, "You all right, boy?" And he's like, "Where am I?" He is, "Yeah, at the Garden, boy." So he had to tell Austin he's at the Garden. So I think that's pretty cool. But somehow they get right up out of that and go into a suplex and elbows from Taker. So I don't know if Taker didn't get the message that he was knocked out or what, but you can definitely see the pace change right after that.
Oh, I don't think Austin recovers this entire match, man.
No.
He is out of it. And going back and looking at it, it's pretty clear. Yeah, you can see where he gets knocked out. And, I mean, I compared it to, when you would have a match with your wrestling buddy, your little stuffed animal, and you would have to pick them up and do the moves and make them do moves to you. You can watch that happen in some of this stuff. Undertaker,
especially towards the finish here.
Yeah, literally carrying Austin along and getting this match out of him here. Yeah. But he keeps going right at it and pulls that
Taker
suplex.
actually uses a stun gun. He uses Austin's old finisher in WCW on him, which I thought was kind of cool. So,
and he's kind of gives Austin some breathing room here, trying to give Austin a chance to shake it off, to get back into it. But it's clear that he is just not himself here during this match.
No, not at all. You're right, man. And Taker starts working over his back, I think just to give him room to breathe, like you said. And Austin powders out and trips Taker and starts wrapping his leg around the ring post and working on his leg. And they're back in the ring, and Taker hits a diving running clothesline, which gets a pretty big pop from the Garden crowd. They're always a good crowd to be in front of. And then he choked.
They start a 316 chant in this match.
I like that.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Me neither. It was cool. So he starts choking Austin on the mat, and JR makes his comment. He goes, he could palm a basketball. Heck, I think he could even palm an anvil. I didn't know. He's talking about Neidhart or like an Acme anvil, like Coyote, or was he talking?
I hope he's talking about palming Neidhart.
Could he pick up Jim Neidhart by the head?
Something weird.
Yeah.
Never mind. At this point, Kane makes his way into the arena. So the crowd gets a little all anxious over that, but Undertaker actually takes a break and tells Kane to head to the back, which is what he has said before. He wants to do this one on his own. So Kane is kind of frustrated about it, but he listens to his brother and he heads to the back. And at this point, Taker invites Austin to fight him again, and they start slugging it out. And what Austin keeps doing here, he keeps going back to working the leg of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That's kind of the story he's telling here. Kind of similar to their first match a little bit, actually, as Austin's trying to chop Undertaker down.
Yeah, and one of the things that Taker hits here is he hits a running choke slam from the apron into the middle of the ring. Austin's on the apron. He grabs him by the throat, picks him up, and then runs with him and choke slams him. Huge. It's awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, like you said, I just wrote down my notes that Taker has wobbly knees. You know, he gets clotheslined over the top, but you always call it the perfect 10 landing. I give it an 8.5. You know, he lands with his knees are buckling at this point.
Well, that's another thing too, is that Undertaker's not 100% in this match either.
Right.
That's another thing that I didn't know until later years, is that he's still nursing the ankle injury and some other nagging injuries too. He's not himself at this point in time either.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes sense when you watch it, you know, at this point in our lives. But they go out around the outside, and here's the Attitude Era staple. They're battling through the arena, through the audience here, and they just disappear. Like they don't have a good camera shot of it, but you do see Taker backdrop Austin on the floor, which that sounds like a bad idea if you've been knocked out.
Yeah, a little bit.
It just sounds like a bad idea. Then they get back in the ring, and Austin attempts a stunner, but Taker flips out over the top rope, which I thought was a cool way to evade that.
That looked really cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. And then he catches Austin and slams him spine first to the ring post, and I just wrote that Austin looks out of it at this point, man. Like, he just looks – he's got Krispy Kreme eyes, man. They're just glazed over.
They're wrestling at half speed, and they're just kind of going through these motions, but Undertaker's trying to keep it going, although he gets Austin in the ring and hits the laziest looking stomps in the corner I've ever seen, man. He's tapping him with his foot. I think he's just trying to figure out what to do next, trying to figure out how to keep this thing going. It feels like they probably could have gone home, but they were like, it's too early, man. We just got to fill up 10 more minutes of time, and Austin doesn't know where he's at. I'm hurt. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, well, luckily he has a bright idea to go over there and get the Spanish announce table ready for deletion. So he's ready to delete the Spanish announce table, takes all the things off of it, you know, and puts Austin on the Spanish announce table. As JR says, I've never seen Austin take a beating like this, which is probably true.
Yeah.
He's pretty much with it. You don't count the Owen Hartman. That wasn't really a beating. He just got dropped on his neck. But anyway, so Austin's laying on the Spanish announce table, and Taker goes up to the top rope, and I love this. Even though it doesn't go the way it's supposed to, I love this. Taker jumps off with a huge leg drop onto Austin on the table. Of course, the table does not break. So what's that on Botchamania? I would say, I am the table.
Yeah, I mean, it breaks. It just doesn't break in half quite. It kind of falls over. But, dude, Undertaker, if you watch it, he lands tailbone first on one of the monitors, man.
I
know.
know.
Move the monitor. Oh, that had to hurt.
Oh, remind me when Orton did that at WrestleMania 30. Remember? He landed right on the monitor.
Yes.
Oh, that came to my mom when I watched Taker do this. He just butt first on the monitor. So,
but it is really cool looking, though. Yeah, it's iconic. Yeah. One of his coolest looking dives ever.
And just, again, the big man, his ability and his agility to do that are just absolutely uncanny. Nobody does it like him. So, speeding things up here, we roll back in the ring. Stinger splash misses, punches back and forth. They do the double clothesline for the double down spot, probably just so they can both breathe, because they're both just out of it at this
Austin,
point.
like you said, he looks drunk on his feet, man, and not in the typical Austin drunk way.
Right.
He is able to hit a Thez press to a big reaction, followed by an elbow, and then Austin gives Undertaker the ugliest looking stunner, like worse than Linda McMahon taking the stunner. It's awful.
That's bad.
And the announcers, they're like, "Oh, he didn't get all that one."
It's ball and shoe ugly. The bar one. Oh man, it's bad.
I think that might have been supposed to be the finish. I'm not sure, but Undertaker is like, nope. Kicking out of that one. He's not beating me like that.
Yeah, he kicks out at 2, and it's thank God, because that would have been awful. But kicks out at 2, and I think that at this point they're just making stuff up because Austin reverses out of a tombstone, I believe, and attempts a stunner, and
he just kind of stands there. He grabs Taker's leg and just like doesn't know what to do. So this is where Undertaker just kind of like picks him up and tosses him, crotches him on the rope, man. Just
which
straight
is
picks him up.
Very weird spot here at the end of the match, and then Taker hits my new favorite Russian leg sweep. Does a sit up, goes old school, and as Austin actually low blows him, hits him right in the bag here as he comes off, and nails a stunner. And Austin gets the win at 20 minutes and 50 seconds. So they probably could have shaved that match in half if they needed to.
Well, I will say, knowing what we know, Undertaker pulled a decent story and match out of a concussed Austin here. Who you can see him when the match is over. Austin can't even get up on the ropes to pose. He keeps slipping on the ropes when he's trying to do his poses in the corner. The dude is not there, but somehow Undertaker dragged this match out of him, and it is not the match that I remembered. It is not a great match by any means, but the story is actually pretty good.
I love that, yeah.
Considering, Undertaker is so dominant, he's such a dominant force, and this is the weakest we've ever seen Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's worn down by Undertaker, and that's a pretty good story. And even though it's really sloppy, they're able to make sense out of it and give a compelling story despite all the injuries and obstacles that they had to deal with here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And at the end here, after Taker loses, he grabs the belt and he kind of stares down Austin and he hands it over to Steve Austin, and the crowd pops for that. And JR puts over how that was how big of a class act that was. Undertaker still has some class, and he showed he was a man of his word. Kane never got involved. He told him to go away. So still, again, Taker's like a face still here, but it's so confusing. It's kind of confusing because then after this, Taker walks away up the aisleway, and Kane comes out, and they both stand side by side and just kind of stare down Austin as he slips on and off the ropes as he poses for the Madison Square Garden crowd. So, yeah, he didn't look good. He looked like when at the end of Brock and Angle at WrestleMania 19 when Brock was out of it too.
Yeah,
so.
Very similar. Very similar.
Yeah.
But that's going to do it right there for SummerSlam 1998. They don't have this on the network, but I do remember specifically they had a post-game show on the Home Shopping Network after this that they used to do after the big pay-per-views where they would sell you all the exclusive merch. But I remember, and I think it's still on my VHS copy of this tape. I recorded that and had some interviews with guys on there. And that used to be how I'd find out pay-per-view results a lot of the time, is watching the Home Shopping Network after the pay-per-view.
Wow. Isn't that crazy?
Funny how times change.
It is, man.
But times are going to change on to September of 98 from next week's episode as we talk about Breakdown in Your House.
I'm super excited about this one. I have some personal stories about this one.
Okay, cool. Triple Threat, Undertaker, Kane, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Our first Triple Threat pay-per-view, right?
Yeah. We've had Fatal 4-Ways, we've had Royal Rumbles, we've had tag matches, we've had Survivor Series. Yep, first Triple Threat here.
Triple Threat here. We'll be talking about that next week, so we want to hear your thoughts on that. We want to hear your memories of SummerSlam 98, of the Highway to Hell. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Talking Taker, or you can reach out to me at Alex Dorio as well. You can support the show by picking up a Talking Taker t-shirt over on tpublic.com, or you can always subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts on. Give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and recommend it to your friends. That's the absolute biggest help you can do to help this little thing grow as we come back for episode number 50 next week.
Just a couple other quick notes out there for you creatures of the night. Number one is, I can't believe this, our very own Twitterless Travis is on the latest episode of Castrating the Marks. That's Vince Russo's podcast on his Premium Realm Network. On the July 19th episode, Travis got to be a guest for about 10 minutes on there and speak to the man behind all of this madness that we've been talking about lately, Vince Russo. How cool is that? Travis is on there for a little bit, even gets to ask Vince a couple questions about some of the lingering questions that we've had about some of this Undertaker stuff we've been covering. So it's a fun appearance on there. If you're a subscriber, then definitely go check that out. If not, you can just go to realmnetwork.com. That's RELM network.com. You could subscribe for just $3.95 to Vince Russo's brand. You can follow at the Vince Russo on Twitter as well. Shout him out. Let him know you need to bring the Talkin' Taker guys back on the show. Give him a shout out. Let him know you enjoyed Travis's appearance on there. Man, that is so cool. Another cool thing I got to shout out is to our newest Instagram subscriber, the big guy himself, Ryback. Yeah, who knew? Ryback, apparently a fan of the show. I don't know, but he followed us on Instagram, so there you go. Now we just got to get The Undertaker to follow us on Instagram. First the big guy, next the dead man. That's our new goal right here. Maybe we'll figure out a plan on next week's episode number 50.
Whew. Episode 50. It's a big deal. We'll have to do something special for that one. Or do you do something special for 52 this year? I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
They're all special.
They're all special to me and you, yeah. So anyway, speaking of special, you guys are special. We love it. If you were there at MSG this night, please let us know. Did you know that Austin was knocked out? So what were your experiences like? And other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.
Well, finally, Undertaker and Kane have come out of the casket. Out of the casket! This is the best television since President Clinton's mea culpa about a week ago. After all those lies, finally, we get to the truth. And the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, I told you so. He did, JR. He was right all along. Let me repeat that. The truth is, I told you so.